Good morning, my Teaser King family. How's everybody today? And yes, today starts football. Well, it kind of started last week, but today's like the beginning of this weekend, which is uh, very fun. So let's check our gold first, and then we'll get into baseball. We got a 110 game, and then we'll get into football. So gold's confusing now. So we're at 25.21. We were at 25.23, and at 8 o'clock, there's a derivative instead of 10 o'clock. And the 8 o'clock derivative drove down to 25.05, down $18. And now we've come back at 10 o'clock. When you think we'd go down, we're going up. So I don't know. I guess London's the one doing the derivative now for the U.S., the only thing that makes sense. So they're trying to monkey around with it. And the Chinese and the Indians and the Russians they're just waiting. And then when they see this drop, they just buy it at 25.05. So we're back to 25.21. Hopefully we can get that big push. What's today? Thursday. So hopefully we can get that big push tomorrow and get up to like 25.50, 25.75 on our way to 26, on our way to 3,000, on our way to 10,000. So, yeah, I don't really quite grasp the 8 o'clock derivative. Like, who wants to lose money? The UK, do they have any money to lose? Silver, 29.62, again, struggles to get over 30, but we know that's normal. That is not, that's exactly what silver's going to go through until we get until they break it, or until we get, we've already got the demand. And I think a lot of the silver buying is not going through here. So anyway, there we go. So a good morning for gold so far. I did have one gentleman buy the locks for this week, but I don't have any locks. I don't always have locks for football. It's only when I really feel the lock. I mean, if I don't lock just to lock. And if I don't feel it, I'm not going to play a lock just to say, oh, I have a lock. So I did give him my strongest play today, and then he'll get the locks next week. But I understand he wants to just bet the strongest game and, build his bankroll, which perfect sense. But got a lot of cinnamon in this. Wow. But again, so I give him the best game. I am fine. How are you, Mia? So that's a smart way to play it. But overall, I do well with the picks anyway. So I get what he's doing, and he'll be very successful doing it. And keep in mind, though, I do let's say I was locking a game. Well, like look at the champion. Well, look in the playoffs. I had Kansas City at Buffalo, and Buffalo is a 3-point favorite. And I had Kansas City, and it was a lock. I had them in more than one teaser, but I didn't necessarily lock the other teaser. I probably had them with the Detroit over, right? Kansas City +8 against Buffalo, lock. And whatever the best play was, lock. But then I play my locks in teasers. So that's something that you need to understand. because when I find my strong game, I want to play it more than once because we're doing teasers and we need 2 teams. And I always can find, I think I got 10 teams played this week. And so if you find a good one, you want to play it in 2 teasers. I think I played Georgia Tech in 2 teasers last week. And yes, this is a 2-week. So if you bought last week, you were getting this week because there was just the 2 games last week. So you'll still see last week's game, Georgia Tech on the thing. And it's usually I just do 1 week at a time until we get to bowl games. Then it's just I play the bowls. You get all the bowls, so they just keep getting added as we get to the New Year's Day games and everything. Anyway, so let's look at baseball first. 8:29. Terrible day yesterday. Houston. Can somebody explain to me? No, the Pittsburgh. Paul Skenes pitched 5 innings, and they play a 14-10 game with Pittsburgh, with the Cubs, and in Pittsburgh. And why did they pull Skenes after 5 innings? He should have pitched, 7 or 8. Obviously, the basis of the bat. Obviously, you get screwed by idiot managers, but. I saw the score like 10-6. I go, well, that's Skenes. It's a winner. I couldn't figure out how they scored 6. Then I checked the final 14-10. It was a football game. But our other big game did win. Chris Sale for Atlanta, 7 units. That kind of makes up for the 10 units. Otherwise, it was a tough lost. Cleveland under. It goes over. Houston over. I win. Seattle under goes over. Detroit over, typical, goes under. Oakland under 10. And what was going on there? Yankees over 9. They didn't. Boston over 9. They didn't. I went with the 49ers over 8. Colorado over 11. They don't get there. And Baltimore and the Dodgers win. So it was. They have. I bet on Baltimore's ace, so it's really surprising. Which is why we don't bet a lot of baseball and we bet a lot of football. See, where Skenes pitches 5 innings and we all get fucked in football, we know we got Mahomes the whole game, unless he gets injured and knocked out. But generally, he's going the whole game. We can trust Mahomes. You got Mahomes the whole game, you're probably going to win it. And we stay away from Mahomes with the good defensive teams like the Raiders, San Diego this year. If we get Baltimore or Cleveland, we're being careful. Pittsburgh, we're being careful. We look for him against the weak teams and the weak defensive teams. So let's go through baseball, and then we'll get into college football. Pro football is still 2 weeks away. We can look at the line to see if there's any movements, but next week we'll really check injuries. All right, California, Detroit. Detroit loves these 1 o'clock games on a Thursday where, they get 10 people in the crowd. We got Jack Kakanowitz for the California, 1-3 with the 608. Kendra Montero, 4-5 with the 514. See, you should be able to go over with this game. California, this Montero's terrible at the 5.15 ERA. And the 6. So this should go over. So I'm going to go Detroit over. So I'm going to call it California over. Over 9. And we'll go 2 units. And we had it yesterday, over 9, and they didn't get there. I don't know what to do. Detroit is the most confusing team. They got really guy throws right. So we get the left-handed lineup. It's really the worst managed team, I think, in baseball, or one of them. It's really the worst run team. They want to bring up all these young guys to let them get major league hitting, and they all hit 250. And then they have this pitching crap with bad pitchers. They let go their best pitcher in Flaherty, and they got Skubal, who's okay, but we'll see. He's inconsistent sometimes, but we will see. I mean, you're supposed to win with pitching and defense, and they don't have either. Now they're starting to hit, except for yesterday. They couldn't hit against a 5 ERA pitcher. So, who knows with Detroit. Anyway, so we'll take the over in the game. We can't trust either team to win it. Texas, Chicago. Nathan Eovaldi for Texas, 9-7, 3.79. Nick Nastrini, 0-5 with an 8.39. We're gonna take Texas here, 2 units. White Sox suck. Did we play this yesterday? Well, I think Texas had a real bad pitcher, or one of these TBDs. The 49ers and the Packers. Green Bay -135, 8.5. Otis Birdsong, 3-3 with the 4.57 for Frisco. Aaron Shivaldi, 4-8 with the 4.84. So we're going to go over in this game. Over 8.5. The problem is that the managers are like pulling these guys, and then for some reason the bullpen comes in and nobody can hit. I mean, I'm never saying it. It's not like the bullpen has 1.0 ERAs, Dennis Eckersley and Mariano Rivera. I mean, they got pigs that are with the 4 ERA and they can't hit them. I mean, I would say baseball's on its last leg. I think it's absolutely terrible what they're doing. Excuse me. Breakfast starts at 11 in my world. It's just you've got a bunch of minor leaguers playing. So why would I want to watch? I want to watch Major League Baseball, not minor league baseball, including the managers. So we'll go Milwaukee over 8.5. All right. San Diego, St. Louis. I mean, because when I look at this, there's no way this game should not go over 8.5 all day. 99 out of 100 against a 4.57 and a 4.84. This game should go over. Right. And when it goes 1-0, you're like, how does this guy have a 4.84 ERA and he shuts out this other team? That's that's the inconsistency. All right. San Diego, St. Louis. San Diego -115, 7.5. We got Michael King, 11-7 with the 3.14. Sonny Gray, 11-9 with the 4.07. I like Sonny Gray. Michael King, 3.14. Over under 7.15. I'm just going to take San Diego here. I'm not going to bet it. It's the over under is too low. Miami, Colorado, the land of the 11.5 over unders. Colorado. Valentin Bellozo, 2-2 with a 3.35. Bradley Blaylock, 1-0 with a 3.06. Two new guys just brought up. I'm leaving it alone. The JETSs against Arizona. We got David Peterson for the Jets, 8-1 with a 2.85. Wow, where did this guy come from? Ryan Nelson, 9-6 with the 4.29. I'm going to take the JETSs. NYM. I'll go 3 units. Problem is, how many innings will he pitch? 4 innings, 5 innings? Oh, he pitched 75, 80 pitches. That's too much. So we will see. Oakland and Cincinnati. Cincinnati 130, 10.5. I went under on this yesterday, and they scored 15 runs. These teams both suck. Oakland, JT Ginn, 0-0 with the 2.45. Julian Aguilar, 1-0 with the. I can't touch this game. Not enough information. I mean, when Oakland starts scoring 12 runs, Cincinnati must blow their defense, but I can't bet Oakland over 10.5. Atlanta, Philly, good series. Last was a pretty under series. Philly minus 168.5. Charlie Morton for Atlanta, 7-7 with the 4.24, and Christopher Sanchez, 9-9 with the 3.51. Yeah, I'm going to go Philadelphia here. 2 units. Toronto, Boston. Thought this would go over yesterday. 2 big pitchers going today. Bowden Francis, 7-3, 4.02. Cutter Crawford, 8-11 with the 4.19. Used to have a 1.2 ERA. Well, that's gone. I'm going to go over again. Boston over 8.5. 3 units. See, the problem with baseball is you had 2 pigs pitching and it was an under. They couldn't get 9. But then today they'll score 15 runs. The same bullshit pitching. And this is the problem with baseball. It's not how it should be. When I bet on Mahomes, I pretty much I know what I get, and I get it every time with Mahomes. Unless he plays a tough Oakland defense or a tough Baltimore defense where I know they're not going to score a lot, then I go under on the game because KC's got a beautiful defense. That's the difference. But I know what I get every time with Mahomes. I know what I get with Burrow. If Aaron Rodgers ever plays, I know what I get with him. But in baseball, it's so fucked up that you have no idea what you're getting because the managers are so bad that the guy's pitched 86 pitches. We have to pull. Oh, it's his 3rd time to the lineup. We got to pull him. Then the reliever comes in and gives up 5 runs and loses the game. It's just ridiculous. Kansas City at Houston, good series. Houston 158. Brady Singer 9-9 with the 3.38. Hunter Brown 11-7. We're going under here. Ooh, we hate to go under in Houston, but we will go under 8. Ooh, 2 units. Again, Philadelphia, Boston, the Yankees. You hate playing them under. In the last game, Baltimore at LA, the Dodgers 145.9. Cade Povitz, 1-6 with the 6.10. Bobby Miller, 1-3 with the 7.49. We're going over. LA over 9, 3 units. Because it's so inconsistent, it's very hard to get a big lock or even a 10-star that we got yesterday with Scanes. And where was Scanes? Scanes 5 innings and gave up 5 runs. And then the bullpen comes out and gives up another 5 runs or 6 runs. What the fuck was that? No, they gave up more. You have 9 runs. I looked at the bullpen. It was a close game. They were winning, and they bring in their best guys, and they all got 4 ERAs. Why would you take Scanes out? Right? What's my advantage? So we talk about trade here, free trade. And so you have your money, right? Everything goes back to economics. If I go to the grocery store to buy my bottle of Canadian Club, I'm trading. I'm trading my money for this if I feel the price is worth it. If the price is too high, I'm not going to trade my dollar. But if the price is right or under, like if I see New York strips at $7.99 today, I'm going to buy 2 or 3 of them. They're $17. I deem it too expensive. It's not a fair trade for my heavily inflated, worthless dollar for the steak. So where am I going with this? Baseball, football. Oh, shit, I forgot the premise of it. Let me think about it. Something about free trade. Oh, with Skeins. So why am I taking Skeins out? Was the trade that pulls Skeins, should I bring in the reliever? In that instance, I don't see where it was worth pulling Skeins for those relievers. Now, unless Skeins got injured and they pulled him in the 5th inning, but if they didn't, they should never have pulled him. They should let him go to at least the 8th inning. You got a 10-5 game. But is the trade of Skeins for the guy with the 4.0, 3.7 ERA who's going to give up another 9 runs, is that worth taking Skeins out? He's your ace. You don't see him for another 5 days. Why would I take him out to trade him for a relief pitcher who sucks? And apparently all the relief pitchers suck. So why am I you're making the Cubs look like the Yankees. All of a sudden they can hit. They can't hit. They're not a big hitting team. The Cubs on the road average a whopping 241. So you let a team that hits 241 score 14 runs on your ace. That's a fucked up manager there. I mean, it's a fucked up, man. Why would you pull your ace it's like pulling Mahomes for Sam Darnold or Kirk Cousins. I mean, you don't do it. They're not close to that skill set. Why would you do it? You're trying to win or you're not trying to win? I guess maybe they're not trying to win. Why would you pull Skeins? I mean, that's the problem with baseball. They're bringing in, they go to the relief pitcher too quickly, thinking he's he'll hold him. He's not the same as the ace. That's my point. As I say, when the Seattle manager, thank God he got fired, he had his brain up his ass. When he pulls the guy pitching a one-hitter going into the 8th inning against the Tigers who can't hit, is it better off to let the starter finish or to bring in a reliever who sucks? So he goes to the reliever who sucked, and they lose the game. Gives up the 2-run homer to the worst hitter in the league, Happy Baez. What are you thinking, manager? This is why you're out of a job. You've got your head up your ass. You don't know what the hell you're thinking. You don't understand it. You've got to listen to analytics. You have no brain. You can't understand matchups and concepts and theories. The guy's got a one-hitter or no-hitter through 7 innings. Why would you pull him? He's tired. If he's tired, then I would trade him and get him off my team because my guys aren't going to be tired. This is baseball. You don't get tired in baseball. Don't give me that shit. I played. You don't get tired. You want to play the whole game, especially if you're pitching. You want to finish the game. Don't give me that shit. He's not tired. They can't hit him. And then the guy you bring in gives up the home run to the worst hitter in the league. What was your theory there? Right? He grooved the ball right down the middle of the plate to a guy, if you throw him a curveball, swings and misses at it 100% of the time. So what was that pitch about? Was it a fix? Well, you're fired, so stop fixing games, right? So this is the problem. You've got idiot managers who don't get the concept. You've got to stick with your ace. You got Verlander out there. You don't take him out. You got Scherzer. You have Bob Gibson, Koufax. You everything. See a reliever for Gibson or Koufax? Probably not. No. There was a World Series game, I think 59. They played the White Sox, and White Sox won 1-0. Koufax pitched all 9 innings. You're not pulling him out. So now you're pulling out the starter for what reason? Well, he's tired. He's pitched 100. We don't want to get him hurt. Oh, I heard that in football. But yet you've got all these pitchers on the injured reserve, and they're injured because they're throwing curveballs. Well, I mean, they're basically not even pitching, right? They're stealing money if they go every 5th day, 100 pitches. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you getting value for your pitchers? That's all you want is your pitcher to go every fifth day, 100 pitchers, so he doesn't get hurt. Why don't you go coach tennis? Go coach girls tennis, girls soccer, something like that. This is sports. People get hurt. But with your theory, everybody's getting hurt anyway. All the pitchers are hurt. So why don't you fix that? But your answer of every fifth day, 100 pitches is not why pitchers are getting hurt. That actually hurts the pitchers. When you need them to go 9 innings, they I only throw 100. I can't go anymore. You basically have screwed all the pitchers and you've screwed the game over and you got fired. So I'm really happy that you had your head up your ass. Really insanity. All right, so we have California over 9, Texas, Milwaukee over 8.5, the New York Mets, Philadelphia, Boston over 8.5, Houston under 8.5, and LA over 9, the Dodgers. Half of it is because I can't trust any team to win. I got Baltimore in their race going. Yesterday it loses. I have Atlanta doesn't win. Pittsburgh with Scanes loses. Like, what the fuck? What am I supposed to do? You bet the ace. Okay, we won with Chris Sale and we lost with Scanes. Scanes pitches a 14-10 game. Really? Wow. All right, college football. The funny part is, I mean, I trust the NFL more than I trust baseball to get a winner. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Okay, let's go. College football today. All these bullshit games. Why do they show me the odds on these bullshit games? And actually, they're on like FanDuel, I guess. All right, first game. North Carolina is now 1.5-point favorites, 50.5. So this has gone Minnesota 2.5 to North Carolina 2.5 to North Carolina 1.5. What the fuck's going on here? And 50.5. This was 52. So what the fuck's going on in here? I mean, Minnesota's at home. North Carolina doesn't have a quarterback. They don't have a defense. Both had a 27 defense last year. What's going on? I don't know. This, it's crazy. Jacksonville State 3, 54.5 to Coastal Carolina, up from 2.5. I mean, we don't know. Jacksonville State's coached by Rich Rodriguez. We're expecting a pretty good offense. Coastal Carolina has their quarterback back, but their quarterback's moved on. I'll have to check what team he's on. I can figure out his name. McCall, yeah, Grayson McCall. Again, I can give you the defense from last year, but it's this year, so be gentle with it. Coastal Carolina 25, Jacksonville State at 20. Does it mean anything? I don't know. Jacksonville State with a new quarterback. So, these are you're going to watch games. And you can bet it if you like, and I did not bet today's games. I have no idea really what to do with it. People who bet these are betting just to bet. Why are you betting on North Carolina moving the line 3 points? What reason? They got a new quarterback. They usually have no defense. Minnesota's got a new quarterback. It's at Minnesota. Do you think all of a sudden Minnesota at home's terrible? Are they good? Mm-mm. All right, let's go to tomorrow. Michigan State 14-45 to Florida Atlantic, who's coached by Ohio State defensive coach. I can't think of his name. Herman. So Herman used to be at Ohio State, defensive coordinator, goes to Houston, is very good. Texas hires him. He sucks. So either he can coach or he can't coach. So how does he do well at Houston? And I think they beat Oklahoma or Texas there. And then he goes to Texas and he can't beat anybody. And now he ends up at Florida Atlantic. Go figure that out. Michigan State's got the Oregon State coach and quarterback. The quarterback hasn't played. He's one of these dual, Jalen Hurts type. So good luck with that. State, well, it doesn't matter. It's a new coach. They had a 22 defense. They didn't even have a coach last year. Florida Atlantic at 25. Oklahoma 42, 57.5 to Temple. Down from 60. I mean, this is a tough one. Oklahoma's got a new quarterback who's also a Jalen Hurts type. He's going to probably run more. Temple's terrible. They were a Z team, a 36 defense. Now, if Gabriel was there, I could seriously look at Oklahoma. With this new quarterback, I'm not understanding this 42 line is way too high. But you can't take Temple. They suck, and their quarterback sucks. Their defense sucks. They're a Z team. You can't bet them here, but the 42 is way too much. Wisconsin, 23.5, 56 to Western. That line stayed. We got Tyler Van Dyke, our new quarterback of Wisconsin. We know he's a good one. Western gets a new one. I don't know. Western with the 32 defense. Wisconsin always has a good one, 19. We'll have to see how Van Dyke blends in, if he's got a good offense. I think he'll get better. It might take a few weeks. Western, we'll see, but I don't expect them to do much against Wisconsin, but we'll see. TCU is 9-60 to Stanford. Stanford was a Z team last year, 37 defense. Returning quarterback, but he sucked. TCU's got a returning quarterback who wasn't very good either, Hoover. But give him a year and the backups, I think they'll be better. Good coach. He coached offense. He's usually one of these very explosive coaches. 27 defense, I would expect it to get a little bit better. The game's at Stanford. You got to be a little careful there. And we will see. But look for TCU to have a bounce back year. Stanford just sucks. I mean, they're terrible. All right, let's go to Saturday. We got Georgia, Clemson. We got Georgia 13.5, 48.5. To Clemson. Georgia with the 16 defense was too high. They fired their defensive coordinator, as they should have. He cost them the championship game because he didn't blitz Milrose. Don't know what he was thinking. You can't spy Milrose. You blitz him. You never spy Lamar. You never spy these running quarterbacks. You blitz them. Richardson. You don't, because they got too many. They're too fast and too many moves. If you're standing there, you'll never get them. But if you go after them, that's how you get it. Now, there was a playoff game, the Steelers and the Houston Oilers, 1978 or 79. And Houston had this guy named Earl Campbell. Pittsburgh had this guy named Joe Green, Jack Lambert, Jack Ham. And what did they do? They keyed on him, first of all, because he was their whole team. Art of war, take away the strength. Secondly, they got him in the backfield half the time. They didn't let him run because they knew once he got going, you can't tackle the guy. But before he gets going, if you get him in the backfield while he's looking for the hole, he didn't do shit. And that's what Joe Green mostly did, and a little bit of Lambert and Ham. He couldn't go anywhere, right? So they just blew the gaps and got him before he got going. That's how you got to do these quarterbacks. You get them before they get going. The running one, Lamar, this Richardson guy, all of them. All right, so so that's the mistake Georgia made. They fired the defensive coordinator because they didn't blitz him enough. There's no way Milrose could have done anything against the blitz. Georgia with the 16 defense will probably be about 10 or 11 this year. Clemson with the 20 defense. And this will be interesting if Georgia plays Texas or Oklahoma. I know they got Alabama week 4 with revenge on their mind in that one. Clemson with the 20, but their quarterbacks, their team is not as strong. This spread's about right. 13.5. All right. Virginia Tech, 13.5, 48 to Vanderbilt. That line hasn't moved. The Georgia line hasn't really moved. Vanderbilt with the 36 defense and Virginia Tech with the 24. Vanderbilt gets Dayo Pava, my guy from New Mexico State. Excellent quarterback. Beat Auburn. I think Vanderbilt will be an over this year. And Virginia Tech, I don't know. They had a 24 D. They're okay. They're nothing special. So we'll see. Should be a good game. Maryland and Connecticut. This is a joke. What do you do here? Spread's 20.5, 45. Basically, that hasn't moved. Why would it? Maryland with a 23 defense, Connecticut, bad team, 30 defense. Both have new quarterbacks. This is watch and take notes. I mean, what do good Maryland team, you'd say, they'll blow them out. But this is not a good Maryland team, or at least we don't think it is. Now, if the quarterback comes in and lights it up, then we'll go, oh, yeah, they got a good quarterback. But otherwise, they never really have a good defense. So it's a very difficult game to call there. Pitt and Kent State. Pitt, a 24, 55.5. 27 defense for Pitt, which is unusual with Narduzzi. Kent is a Z team with the 35 defense, and they both have new quarterbacks. West Virginia and Penn State. This line's down to 8.5. It was at 10.5. 51.5 over under. Penn State with an 11 defense, which was totally phony. The Big Ten sucked last year, so it was very misleading. West Virginia with the 28 defense, but they're playing in the Big 12, so they're playing against real quarterbacks, not like the Big Ten. Both quarterbacks are back here, and this is a revenge game for West Virginia. They lost bad at Penn State, and I look for them to play much better in this game. We'll see if they can win, but they have a good shot to win it. Let's see. Miami against Florida. Miami 2.5, 54. Miami with the 22 defense. Just a second. Jenna's in her train. Jenna's on the train heading back to Ukraine. So I said, "Well, good. Go relax now because she's tired." And I said, "I hope you have food." She says, "No food. I just have water and nuts." So I'm like, "Well, isn't that food?" All right. Sorry about that. The hard part about the Ukraine is you can't fly. Their airports aren't open. So she has to. All right. Back to the game. So we got Miami 2.5, 54. I'm still baffled that Miami's favored. People think Ward's better than he is, I guess. That's like people thinking Caleb is a good quarterback. Don't know where they're getting that from. When I break it down and watch the Notre Dame UCLA games, I don't know why Jenna doesn't think nuts are food. And I don't feel like arguing with her. All right. Back to this. So Miami 2.5, 54, Florida. What do we think? Ward's not that good. Florida with the 27 defense, and Miami with the 22. Florida's quarterback's back. They do have a few injuries, but I don't know how serious. Miami gets Cam Ward from Washington State, who wasn't that good. I think Florida's got a very good chance to win this game. Because they're a home dog, and I think they're overrating Miami. My line would be Florida -3. They're at home. They played Utah at home a few years ago and beat them on a last-second interception. Florida plays very well at home, but I don't think Miami. I mean, this is not Ohio State going there and making Miami a favorite. I think the bad line. UTSA, Tennessee State, UTSA 25, 49.5. Tennessee State's new to Division One, so we really don't have anything to go by. UTSA, Frank Harris graduated. Sincere McCormick's on the Raiders now playing. So both have new quarterback. Even Tennessee State's got a new quarterback. So this is really hard to know what. UTSA's got a good coach. They should play well, but we don't know how good Tennessee State is. Big Nebraska, 27.5, 49 to UTEP. Nebraska with an 18 defense, UTEP with a 28. They got a new freshman quarterback, Nebraska, and UTEP with a rookie. This is a hard game. I think Nebraska will be an under team. I think they'll have a very good defense with the coach. Not sure about their quarterback. UTEP, they weren't very strong last year. Don't know what to expect out of them this year. again, you got to watch and get a feel for what this year's team is versus last year. I give you last year's defense so you have something to go by. That's about it. So UMass, 2.5 and 50. This line's moved quite a bit. It went from 48.5 to 50. And see, they keep fucking around with these. These were like 2, then it went to 3. Well, actually, Eastern was a favorite, 1.5. Then it goes to UMass laying 3. Now UMass is 2.5. And the total goes up to 50. I don't know why. UMass gave up 38 a game last year, and Eastern 24. They get a new transfer quarterback, Eastern, and UMass returning quarterback. So we will see. We will see what happens, but not sure. Eastern is the better team here, and they're getting points. I would think they're a live dog unless something happened that the line changed like that, but I don't know. Again, these are kind of, we got to wait and see what we got. Ohio State, we don't have to wait and see. We know what we got. 48.5, 58. This is down from 50. Who the hell would be betting Akron here? 58 stayed. So, again, the new transfer quarterback for Ohio State's Will Howard. He's excellent. We know him. Akron, a new transfer, don't know. Akron gave up 28 a game last year, didn't score a lot. Ohio State had an 11 defense, but as I mentioned, in the Penn State, the Big Ten sucked offensively, so it's kind of misleading. Let's figure it a 14 defense. So it should be a good defense this year. I don't know. It's a tough line. It's a high line, but I think Ohio State will really we'll really want to show Chip Kelly and we'll really want to show Will Howard. And I think they want to get the new offense worked out. So I think they'll score a lot in this game. Certainly wouldn't take Akron in 48 or 50 points. These are people that don't know how to gamble, don't know how to analyze football, taking Akron in 50. These are people that go, well, I'm getting 50 points. You'll be lucky to get past midfield. So if you are betting the game, my recommendation is that Akron probably won't score, that you're probably better off taking Ohio State down to 42.5 and not fucking with the over. Unless you want to go under, then you go under 64. So that about probably be your only play if you're going under. If you're going over, I would take Ohio State because Akron's not going to probably score too much in this game. Northwestern 39.5 to Miami of Ohio. $3.40 to Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio is a good team. They got a quarterback back. Northwestern's got a new one. Miami of Ohio only gave up 16 points a game, and Northwestern 24. This should be a very close. This should be like the Miami-Florida State game. You should be able to. You should be able to. No. I mean, this should be a tight game. This, like the Florida game, I would expect Florida has a good chance to win, and I expect here Miami of Ohio has a good chance to win. But we will see. The only thing with Miami of Ohio, the quarterback was there last year. Northwestern, you don't know what you got. That's where the risk is involved. I can take Miami of Ohio, but Northwestern might have a good quarterback, and they might win by 20. that's where you get in trouble. But superficially, you think, well, it's probably be a close game. Miami could easily win it because of their defense. And we will see Saturday. Ohio and Syracuse. Syracuse minus 17.5 and 46. Ohio, another good MAC team. A 15 defense. Syracuse a 24. Syracuse gets the quarterback from Ohio State. I don't know if that's good or bad. And Ohio has a new quarterback. This is just like the Miami of Ohio game. I think they're a live dog, but we got to see how Syracuse plays with the Ohio State quarterback, who wasn't very good at Ohio State, had his moments, but we will see. So again, another Syracuse has a new coach. We don't know who they are right now. I mean, this is different. But if this is week 4, then these bets would be much easier. Oh, we can see what Florida is and Miami, and we go, yeah. And by then Florida would probably be favored. But again, in week 1, we've got to develop the teams. Well, we know we're going to get good effort by Miami of Ohio and Florida, West Virginia. We know we're getting good effort. Their backs aren't against the wall, but we know they're pumped up. Florida, home dog, really? West Virginia, home dog, revenge game, really? Those are incentives that draw you to them. But are they capable of getting the win? Well, West Virginia, same coach, same quarterback. They'll play emotional. Is it enough? That's what we got to see. But that's the way it is in any game, right? Indiana 21.5, 51.5 to Florida International. Florida International is not very good. 32 defense, Indiana with the 30 defense. A new transfer quarterback from James Madison for Indy. Florida International's got their quarterback back. Indiana's got the James Madison coach who's very good. Look for them to be much improved this year. The 30 defense will probably go down to 20, and then, maybe 25. They got to play Oregon or Washington or UCLA. They're going to be in trouble. USC, Ohio State. So, yeah, it could be. It could not, but if they play a lot of Wisconsin and Iowa, then it will be a low. So it's really who do they play? So I do expect them to be a better team, and the defense will get better. But again, it's hard to lay 20. Yeah, like I said, in week 4 maybe, but week 1, they haven't played anybody. All these teams, this is the problem with week 1. They haven't played anybody yet. So you got to really – there'll be surprises. How did they do that? Right? And that's what you're looking at. Texas, 32, 60.5. To Colorado State. Colorado State was pretty weak last year. Both quarterbacks are back. Ewers, Colorado State with a 30 defense, Texas with the 17. Texas's top 2 running backs are out with knee injuries already. They're at home. You're laying 32. That seems like a lot. Is Colorado State that bad? Which they probably are. Texas will start on fire, but it's a big number to cover, so we'll see. Boise against Georgia Southern, the other Georgia. Now, we're reading Georgia Southern. They're pretty good. We read that thinking they were Georgia State. Boise's up to 13.57, up from 11.5. The 57 stayed. Georgia Southern with the 30 defense, a new freshman quarterback. Boise with the 25 defense, and a new transfer freshman quarterback from USC who did not start. He got beat out. So it just shows you how good the USC quarterbacks really are. They're not that good. So Boise's going to be more of a running team this year. Georgia Southern, as I read, is pretty good coach. I don't know. It is at Georgia Southern, so they might be able to give him a game, but Boise's looking to run, so we will see. South Carolina, Old Dominion, South Carolina 21-52. We got a returning quarterback for Old D, a new quarterback from South Carolina. The great Rattler moved on. He sucked. What I love is he sucked in college, and then all of a sudden he's on New Orleans, and they think he's good. And you're like, you kidding me? Oh, yeah, against a four-string, he's really good. Hey, Todd. I'm fine. How are you? I haven't heard from you for a while. Not making bets this week. Gonna watch and learn for week 2 picks. Okay. You still put out one free pick every week? No, not really. I'll teach the class. So for $25, you get all my picks, or obviously buy the picks the way you've been buying them. But no, I'm not doing the free pick. I did the free picks all last year, and a lot of complaints from the buyers. Why am I buying if you're giving them away? So, yeah, no, I'm not going to do the free picks. But the class is $25. So I'm giving a good discount on that, so you can you'll get all the picks. But I can, if you sign up for that, then I can talk to you about your best pick or your best bet, or me, I always have 4 or 5 best picks. But no, I'm not. But we can talk about that. So South Carolina 21-52. I don't know what you got with South Carolina, and I don't know what you got with Old D. Old D they both had 26 defenses. So with Spencer Rattler, they still had a 26 defense. 52 over under. I have no idea. We don't know how strong Old D's offense is and how strong their defense is. South Carolina never really had a great defense, and with Rattler, they didn't do much scoring. So we will see. They were a little bit better last year, but we got to see who their quarterback is. South Alabama 5.5 to North Texas 64.5. South Alabama is a good team. They got a freshman quarterback this year. And North Texas has a new quarterback who's a transfer. North Texas is just strictly an over team. Good offense, good quarterback. This guy, I think, is pretty good. And a terrible defense. South Alabama was an A team, 22 defense. The game's at Alabama. We'll see. Again, how strong South Alabama. We know North Texas will light it up. And then if the quarterback's any good for South Alabama, they'll light it up back on North Texas. Okay, Todd, no problem. Good to see you again. All right. Next game, Houston, 2.5, 54 to UNLV. Now, UNLV had a great team last year. I think they won their conference. They're not the Z team anymore, but their quarterback went to USC. He'll probably start there. Houston is got Willie Fritz, the coach who made Tulane a good team, and they're undefeated. Tulane should be pretty good this year. They got the Troy coach, I believe. So look for Houston to be our sleeper. That's what the coach does. He'll change. No. This is the defense. We're going to blitz more, whatever. That's why Georgia fired the defensive coordinator. He didn't blitz enough. Alabama should never have beaten that team. San Francisco got rid of their defensive coordinator because they didn't blitz enough on Mahomes, lost the Super Bowl. That's not acceptable. Kansas City has Spagnuolo. What do they do? Sign him to a 5-year extension. And the Lions, the one team that needed to get rid of their defensive coordinator, kept them. Enough said. So they'll keep giving up 30 points a game, and Frisco will probably lower their defense to 14, and Georgia will be back under 10. And anyway, that's what'll happen. So Houston's progress, work in progress. We'll see. This is a good game to test both these teams, but I don't think Houston's defense is there yet, but I think it's going to be much improved. Vegas, I'm sure it was a good system. The quarterback, Maivia, should start for USC, so how good's their backup? But he's probably pretty good. Maivia, nobody ever heard of. Hey, Real D, how you doing today? I'm fine, thank you. Just going through we went through baseball already. I'll go through that again, and then we're going through college because it starts today. Troy, 44.5 to Nevada, and this has gone down from 13. I know I thought that spread was way too high. 9's about right. They're at home against Nevada, who's not that strong. 33 defense, and they gave up 29 to SMU, who's a much more explosive team than Troy. New quarterback for Troy, and then they have a terrible coach. The offensive coordinator from Notre Dame was horrible. He had Hartman and he had Escalon, the running back, and he didn't do shit. He lost all the big games because of his bad play calling. So be careful with Troy. They'll probably suck this year. That's where the head coach comes in. So what we just talked about Houston with Willie Fritz. And then the Troy coach went to Tulane, I think. He moved on too. And Troy gets the worst of it with this Notre Dame coach. What are they thinking? You had Hartman and couldn't win. I'd grab the Wake Forest offensive coordinator who had Hartman and they scored 40 a game. So this is a very weak move by Troy. So Troy's not going to be very good this year. Nevada, we saw they ran the ball a lot on SMU, caught them by surprise. If it was week 4, SMU would have blown them out. But that's okay. That's what we learned. But I don't think Nevada's going to be that strong. They're just running the quarterback. Teams will adjust to it. He can't throw. Yeah, but Troy's not a big team either. It's a game to avoid. Alabama, 31.5, 32, 33. Take your pick. Against Western Kentucky, over under 59.5, 60, 59.5. Alabama, DeBoer, great coach. He got Penix, made Penix a good quarterback. I think Penix and Nix are the top 2 of the draft, although Jalen Daniels is good. Then you have Caleb, maybe. I'm not buying Caleb. Everybody's buying Caleb, all the Bears, this and that bullshit. If he has to play Notre Dame, Caleb's going to wet his pants if they played in the pros. Alabama, I mean, they'll have a great offense. Milrose is back, but DeBoer, he brings a good offensive mind to the table. He's a good coach. That'll make them very good. So I see them scoring a lot, and then we'll have to see their defense. Washington had a decent defense, but we'll see. Western Kentucky, they're a pretty good team. They got a new transfer quarterback who's pretty good. They always are somewhat good. When they would play Alabama before, these type of teams, they would struggle protecting the quarterback because Alabama would blitz. Saban would just blitz every play. They couldn't pick up the blitz, so even though they had a good offense, they didn't do anything. We'll see what the board does. I think Western Kentucky can put up some points. I think Alabama will put up a lot of points because the board want to prove to the Alabama people, hey, I'm a good coach. even though we lost to Michigan, I know. So I think we got a idea of what Alabama is. It'll be how good's their defense. But I know they have a good offense. And this is kind of good. This would have been a playoff game, Georgia against Washington, when Georgia plays Alabama. We'll get a feel of what would have happened. Although it's not going to be pretty for Alabama when they get Georgia. Georgia in a revenge game, forget about it. That's the one team that you don't want to be in a revenge game with. Rice and Sam Houston. Rice, 10, 49.5. What do you say? I think they got Kurt Warner's son, E.J. Warner, was at Temple, and he got out of there quickly. Both teams had 26 defenses. Sam Houston really has no offense. You're not playing it over in a Sam Houston game. You're probably playing under, I don't know what Rice, 26 defense. We'll see how good they are with Warner Jr. here. But I wouldn't touch this game. Michigan, 21, 45.5 to Fresno State. Mikey Keene. This line went down from 48, now 45.5. Wow. Michigan with a 10 defense, which was a bullshit defense. They basically rushed 6 every play, so they got to the quarterback. It was a gimmick defense. Fresno State gave up 25 a game playing in the Mountain West. We will see. Michigan's new coach, new quarterback, new running back, new defensive coordinator. Not the same team at all. Fresno State returns the coach, the quarterback, Mikey Keene, who's a very good quarterback. I think Fresno State should be able to move the ball. If they do the bullshit 6-man rush, I think they have a very good coach. I think he's prepared for that. I don't think they'll shut him out. I think Fresno State's very, very live in this game. They could win it, but I think if Michigan wins by 21, I'll be shocked. Maybe they will, but you can't change coaches and defensive coordinators and quarterbacks and just keep going like nothing happened. And Fresno State with Mikey Keene and a good coach, they'll be ready for him. So I wouldn't be surprised here with this. The revenge factor for a bunch of these teams, it's a bunch of huge spreads. Yeah, I think the biggest revenge game that is that West Virginia, Penn State. It's a good revenge game. I don't know the other ones. Miami and Florida, I don't think it's a revenge game. LSU, USC's not. I don't know about a lot of revenge games now, but as you're talking down the road, yeah, Georgia, Alabama would be revenge. Yeah, Georgia, Clemson's not revenge. Clemson's lucky there. Not a big spread, a lot of spreads that don't make sense. That's for sure. All right, so Fresno State should hang in there. A&M 346 to Notre Dame. It's about right. The line, yeah. This is what the Florida should be lane 3 to Miami. But Notre Dame, I don't like Riley Leonard as much as I liked Hartman, obviously. Riley Leonard's okay. But when I looked at his stats, and he played 6 or 7 games, he had 3 touchdowns and 3 picks. So he runs a lot. So I think it's more of an option type of deal with Notre Dame. But they get good receivers. I mean, you need a quarterback who can throw. They did lose that shitty offensive coordinator. We'll see who they replaced him with. I don't really like their coach that much, Notre Dame's coach. A&M, they got Elko from Duke, who used to be their defensive coordinator. We have no idea, so we will see. I think both teams, I think A&M will be better than Notre Dame at the end of the year. But this will be an interesting game for the first game. Well, there's some huge points, but I mean, Ohio State is huge. Texas, Alabama. Um, Ohio State, I can see. I can't see Texas, and I'm not sure about Alabama. The point spreads. UCLA 14 and 54 to Hawaii. Now this is a weird one. UCLA lost, their coach. They lost their they lost their defensive coordinator. Chip Kelly is the coach. So Chip Kelly goes to Ohio State. Deshaun Foster's never coached before, but he was the running backs coach. So he should probably not fuck with the system that Chip Kelly ran. So he probably knows that well. So I don't think they're going to change their offense, although it wasn't very good last year, but they didn't have a quarterback. Gabbers is their quarterback, Garbers, who was there last year. So we'll see. Their defensive coordinator was really good, goes to USC, but their defensive line coach is now the defensive coordinator who knows the defense. So I think UCLA will still be tough on defense and pretty good offensively. Hawaii, we know, is a one-track pony. They just throw the ball, no running, no defense. 32 defense. They beat a Division II team last week at home. So we'll see. Again, a 32 defense for Hawaii. UCLA had an 18. Both quarterbacks are back. It's just like the Alabama games. How much can they defend against UCLA's blitz? UCLA should run up and down the field on Hawaii with no defense. So we'll see how good Hawaii is this week. Kentucky 28 and 50 to Southern Miss. Kentucky, new quarterback. Southern Miss, a new transfer quarterback. They lose Frank Gore Jr., Southern Miss, and that was all they had last year. They were a Z team with them. He's on the Buffalo Bills, I believe. So you've got a 36 defense and no offense for Southern Miss, a Z team. But Kentucky's no bargain. 25 defense, new quarterback. How good's Kentucky? We'll see. See, you never know the new quarterbacks, right? And they could be good out of high school, but this isn't high school. They're playing college now. They've moved up. So the 18, 19-year-olds now playing 22, 23-year-olds. Not like he's playing 17, 18-year-olds in high school. There's a huge difference. That's why it's really tough for the new quarterback. You really got to see them to know if they're any good or not. I heard Hawaii played everyone against Delaware State. Well, they might have, but Delaware, they beat them. I don't know. I don't remember the score, but again, it's Delaware State. But they could have. But again, they're not. They don't run, and they don't have a defense. That's Hawaii's problem. Let's see. Georgia Tech, Georgia Southern, or Georgia State. Yeah, that's right. I keep getting confused. Georgia Tech beats Florida State, 21-56 here. Nothing's changed. New transfer quarterback for Georgia State. Georgia Tech, I really like their quarterback, Kings. He showed in the clutch last week, beating Florida State on some nice long drives, nice passes over the middle. He called the right play at the goal line where he changed plays, and the guy walked in the end zone where Ugly Buglio was running his guys right into the defense. So that's what I like about Kings, and I like the coach. Georgia State's not very good. Georgia Southern's the good Georgia. What are they? Sunbelt teams. So 30 defense for Georgia State, 30 defense for Georgia Tech, which got a whole lot better. I bet it'll be a 22, 23 by the end of the year. That's last year's 30. But again, now they're used to the coach. He probably brought in a better defensive coordinator. The players know the system better. So I look at Georgia Tech here. Will they be tired from flying back to Ireland? You got to keep that in mind. That's going to be like Green Bay and Philly play in Brazil on Friday night. What the fuck is that? And they got to now Brazil. I don't know, what is that? 6-7 hour flight. I know when they fly back from London or Germany, it's a good 6-7 hour flight. It tires out the guys for sure. It's a stupid thing. And Jacksonville always falls for it. They always play there, and then they're good. They always win there, and then they fall apart because they're exhausted from being in London, getting on the London time zone. I don't know with Brazil if they're going to switch time zones. It might be more of a West Coast time zone, but not a 5-6 hour difference. So we'll see. Georgia Tech should win this game. But how are they going to be flat because they just beat Florida State? Or are they going to say, hey, we just beat Florida State. Let's kill Georgia State. I think they'll put up a big number. Let's see what their defense looks like. They got all these Division II games in this stupid thing. James Madison, 8.5, 9.5, 48 to Charlotte. I don't know. New transfer quarterback from James Madison. They lost their coach. I think the Troy coach won here, maybe. New quarterback for Charlotte. Charlotte, 28 defense. They suck. James Madison with an 18, but they lost their coach. So what are you going to do? Now you're going in blind. We don't know how the new coach is going to do. The quarterback, McLeod, left. He's at Indiana now, I believe. So you lose the coach, you lose the quarterback. You're now blind with James Madison. We'll have to see. They were a very good team last year, but even then, we had to see them a couple games to get the feel how to bet them. Right now, we know how to bet Indiana a little bit more with the coach and the quarterback from James Madison. They'll definitely be much better than they've been. Arizona State, 7-48 to Wyoming. Wyoming, new quarterback. The other one's like fourth string in the pros in the exhibition. Arizona State's got a new transfer quarterback as a freshman. They're weak. They had a 32 defense. Wyoming a 23. And it's hard to see Arizona State as the favorite here, but Wyoming also has a new quarterback. So this was how I locked last year. Arizona played Arizona State. Arizona with Fafita, great quarterback, great defense, and they're playing this 32 defense in Arizona State. I think we're laying 20, and that was like a huge lock, taking Arizona over, and they won by like 40 points. But that's what you look for. Arizona State had no defense. You got a great quarterback with Fafita, good receivers, and they had a good defense, so you knew they were just going to blow them out. That's what I look for. You get that good quarterback and good offense against that shit defense, and they're going to just go up and down the field. So I don't know. We got to see the new quarterbacks. Arizona, 31, 58.5 to New Mexico. Arizona had a 20 defense last year, but the coach left. But the quarterback and his top receiver stayed. And they got a new coach who's not bad. I don't recall who he came from, but they got it. He's a decent. They shouldn't fall off too much. So they were very explosive in a 20 defense. New Mexico at the 35 defense lost to a Division II team last week. They were up like 20 points and lost. Fafita is going to have a field day in this game. So look for Arizona to put up a big number here. USC LSU 4.5, 64.5, down from 6.5. And this went from 63 to 64, call it. New quarterback is not bad for LSU. Played a little bit last year. USC's got the new quarterback, probably Maivia from UNLV, who was good at UNLV. Not a lot of touchdowns, but he moved the ball, and he was a good runner, passer, like Jefferson in Arkansas. So he could pass all right. We'll see. 28 defense for LSU, USC 35 defense, and a new coach. He brings over the UCLA coach. you still have shit players. Shit players are shit players. So I don't know that the 35 is going to get much better because of the new coach. Probably you get a little. The whole problem is his scheme. He's never had a good defense at Oklahoma, and he never, it's all this fast break. It's like playing fast break basketball. So they either score in 4 plays or they turn it over or they go 3 and out. You're not resting your defense. The defense gets tired. That's the problem with your defense. If you don't run the ball and rest them, they can't go 60 minutes at full tilt because your offense either scores in 3 plays, 3 and out, those the pick. Either way, it's not good for the defense. And Lincoln Riley hasn't figured that out yet. Probably never will. Probably doesn't understand that concept. So definitely look for a high scoring game here, I would believe. And Florida State, BC, 16.5 and 50. What do you do with Florida State? Ugly Buglia, terrible. BC's quarterback is very bad. Castellanos is not good. BC gave up 30 a game. Florida was 16's already given up, 24 to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's much better offense than BC. So Florida State will probably still have this low 18-20 defense, but they got Uglia Buglia. The problem with Uglia Buglia is as he got down near into the red zone, they didn't score touchdowns. They kicked 3 field goals. And that's why they lost. And that's the problem with Uglia Buglia. So he's, runs a little bit. He can't change plays. He can't read defenses. He got his guys killed. There's 2 big plays that I saw that he didn't check out. And he threw a pass to the guy and the guy got killed. He didn't read the defense was coming. And then at the goal line, he ran his guys right into the defense. He can't read the defense. That's his problem. They all can throw the ball 20 yards. Even Lamar can throw the ball 20 yards to a wide open receiver. We get that, but it's when the blitz comes that he can't read and can't read the defense, can't make adjustments. That's the problem with these guys, Lamar and Uglia Buglia. Nobody's questioning their athletes, but they're not quarterbacks, and they can't do what Brady did because look at him, Brady in that Super Bowl against Seattle. He'd get up there, he'd get the ball out in 2 seconds. He knew where he was going. He said, okay, there's my bitch. And he'd tell the receivers, I'm throwing it there, hike, throw. And Seattle couldn't get to him because he got rid of the ball too quickly. You're never going to see that with Lamar or Uglia Buglia or half the NFL guy, Richardson. These guys are clueless when it comes to that. CJ Stroud can't do it. This is the problem. These guys can't do it. They don't understand it. That's why I make my comments. All right. So Florida State, I don't know. I'm not betting on too many games on Uglia Buglia. Wow, here's an early line for next week. Texas 3.5 over Michigan at Michigan. This is bizarre. I don't know why this is up here, but wow, Texas is favored at Michigan. So Michigan could lose 2 in a row. If they lose to Fresno State, here comes Texas. Interesting game. Iowa State. We should probably bet the under now. It's 37.5 before it goes down to 32. Interesting. Well, we already know those games. So that is this weekend's football. So today we got North Carolina, Minnesota, and we got Coastal Carolina, Jacksonville State. Another game I'm a little surprised North Carolina on the road is favored. I don't understand that. Jacksonville State, Coastal Carolina, I have no idea. And then tomorrow, Florida Atlantic at Michigan State, Temple, Oklahoma, Western Michigan, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's got Van Dyke now. And TCU, Stanford. Stanford being the Z team. And I doubt they're any better this year. That's what you got. And we got Georgia Clemson coming up, and we got on Saturday. Notre Dame A&M, Fresno State, Michigan, Miami against Florida, Miami of Florida against Florida, West Virginia, Penn State, LSU, USC. So those are the big games this weekend. Be safe with them. You're just trying to get your feet wet. You're walking into the pool, right? This is week one. We have an idea. We think Ohio State with Chip Kelly and Will Howard will be very good. We'll see. They should be. Georgia, we know, is pissed that they lost. They didn't get in the playoffs. So is Oregon. So is Utah. Is very pissed. Utah will have Cam Rising is definitely back. They play Utah, Southern Utah or something. They'll probably beat them by 90. So teams that had a bad last year should usually rebound. But it's the NIL, so you even though you get a transfer quarterback, look at Boise got USC's starting quarterback or USC's third string quarterback. He ain't starting. They're not going with him. So with that said, then you have to be very leery. You got to get used to the new quarterbacks. In the good old days, the guy would be there and he'd be playing at least 3 years. And once you knew him, if he's good or bad, you knew Oogly Boogly stinks. He still stinks. Will Howard's very good from Kansas State to Ohio State. So you know the quarterback, but the problem is when they transfer now, you switch systems. You're running a Chip Kelly offense versus whoever Kansas State ran. And, it does make sense. It does make a difference. Hawaii, the coach and quarterback are still there. Now you know what to expect from them. A lot of yards, some points, and no defense, no running. So you just try to understand your teams. You watch the box scores and try to understand what are our key variables: the defense, the quarterback, the coach. That's what we're looking for. We want offenses that are balanced. They run for 220 and they throw for 220. That's the best offense to bet on because the defense doesn't know how to cover them. So that's what you want to do. As far as the Hawaii is one-dimensional. They'll throw for 275 and run for 20. I mean, what are they going to do against the UCLA team's going to blitz the hell out of them? They're not going to do much, or they shouldn't do much. And that's always these teams against Alabama with the good offenses that just, they lose 42-0. You're like, what happened? How come my good team didn't score? They just blitz the hell out of you and they can't pick it up. So that's what used to happen with Nick Saban. We'll see. Keep your eye on Houston, Arizona, these new coaches, Washington. Let's see how they are. TCU should bounce back. Oklahoma, who knows with their quarterback. And they're in the SEC now. So now we've got all this bullshit. 4 Pac-10 teams in the Big Ten. It's the Big 18 now. What the fuck are they doing? These people do these things. They have really no idea what they're doing. What's the point of it? Why is USC in the Midwest and UCLA and Washington and Oregon? Why aren't they still in the Pac-10? What is the advantage? There's what, TV money? They can't make money at the Pac-10? I find that hard to believe. Why is Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC? What is that? They had a Big 12. Texas had a big TV deal in Texas. So it's a whole different landscape we have to adjust and adapt to. What's going to happen here, and that's what we really need to see. So we've got to be a little careful early on. That's why I don't have a lock. I don't know what the lock. I mean, I thought, a few teams, but We'll see. But there'll be, like I said, I don't just lock to lock because I have a lock category in my picks. Oh, I better sell locks. I don't do that. If the game isn't a really highly rated game, I don't lock it. Some weeks I don't have. Some weeks I have 4 or 5 locks. I've had 5 locks before, and all of them win. I mean, it's just I look at the game. Yes, boom, boom, perfect. You make Georgia a dog against Alabama, and I guarantee you I lock it. If I get the right spread in the right situation, it's a lock, and that's just what I do. So keep that in mind. And I think that's about it. NFL, we can talk about this weekend, maybe Sunday. There's nothing really. I mean, it's still 2 weeks away. We can look at the line and see if anything moved on it. But basically, we wanted to focus on college. So let's quickly look at the NFL. KC still 346.5 to Baltimore on Thursday. Philly, Green Bay. Philly's 2.5, 48.5 in Brazil. The Bears 4.5, 45 to Tennessee. Now we're on Sunday. Houston 2.5, 49 at Indy. That's like the Miami, Florida game. Why is Houston favored in Indy? It makes no sense. Buffalo 648 to Arizona. Cincinnati, there's an 8.5 and a 9, 40.5 to New England. Joe Burrow's back. Atlanta 341. This is going to be this is Cousins against Russell Wilson. The quicker Atlanta gets Penix in there, the better. And Pittsburgh, we got to see Russell Wilson play. He'll make a difference if he is Russell Wilson. If he's Jack Wilson, he won't. And Fields, we know, sucks. New Orleans 4-40 to Carolina. Will Carolina win a game this year? Miami 349.5 to Jacksonville. Tua against Trevor Lawrence. Jesus. The game of the week. Minnesota 1-41.5 to the Giants. Daniel Jones against Sam Darnold. Will there be any points in this game? Wow. What a pathetic game. Denver, Seattle. Seattle 5.5, 42. Bo Nix makes his start as Eskane, the Notre Dame running back. Sean Payton looked pretty good in the exhibition game. Just the way he handled Zach Wilson, you can see he's such a good offensive mind. Maybe that was the problem. Russell Wilson didn't run his plays. He told him to fuck off then. Sean Payton's in charge, and he's an excellent coach. Easily the best one in football now. Seattle, they got a new coach. That's right. They got rid of Coach Pete. Ooh, bad move there. Oakland, San Diego. San Diego 3.5, 42.5. Herbert is injured, but should be back. Harbaugh got rid of all the receivers. Wasn't that nice? Joshua Kelly's the running back, and he's good out of Tennessee. They'll have a good defense. But I think Harbaugh thinks he's still in the Big Ten. He wants to play Purdue and Indiana and Illinois. Oakland, vicious defense. Quarterback, what are you thinking? So they got Minshew, he's okay. I mean, he's a lot better than Zach Wilson and Sam Darnold. From Washington State, he was pretty good. Oakland, the killer defense. This should be a very strong defensive game. Dallas and Cleveland. Cleveland 2.5, 42. This should also be a good defensive game. Prescott's terrible. Ezekiel Elliott, they're back to him. CeeDee Lamb, I think that he signed the contract. Cleveland, who's their quarterback, I would think they'd go with Thompson Robinson. They're not going to count on Deshaun Watson. He's through. So this will be interesting. Washington, Tampa, 3.5, 42.5, 43. Let's see what Jalen Daniels looks like. We know what the Baker looks like. Detroit and the Rams. Detroit 3.5, 51. This should be a very interesting game. This is a revenge game. Detroit beat them in the playoffs. I don't know how Detroit can the Rams might throw for 400 yards in this game between Pukanuka and Cooper Kupp and Stafford and the invisible secondary of the Lions. Oh yeah, they drafted another Alabama guy. Yeah, that'll be great. He could throw for 400. He's got two receivers that can go for 200 apiece, like Jefferson did twice, and like CD Lamb did, and like even Evans from Tampa Bay. Well, I got news for you. These receivers are as good as Jefferson. Pukanuka is outstanding, and Detroit kept their defensive coordinator. These guys are gonna be wide open because he doesn't know how to call defense. This is gonna be, this is gonna be a nightmare for Detroit. And the last game, the Niners and the Jets. The Niners 3.5, 44. Did this come down? Wasn't this like 5? Oh, there it is. This was 5. It's down to 3.5. That's interesting. The Jets, great defense, and Aaron Rodgers, and the Niners, great defense, and Brock Purdy, who's not bad. McCaffrey, they got the running back from Missouri, looks good. Kittle and Deebo Samuel. Fuck Ayuk if he doesn't want to play in a Super Bowl, then go play in go to Carolina, go to New Orleans, go. This will be a very interesting Monday night game. The Jets really won't be a surprise team. If Aaron Rodgers plays, they're in the playoffs, no question. Frisco, they'll probably be the number 1 seed again. Dallas is really weak, and Philly, we don't know what they got. You got to get rid of your coach, McCarthy, and they got to get rid of the quarterback, Prescott, for Dallas to have any hope. So that's NFL, but we'll talk more about it. Look at injuries. Hey, Alex. It is pigskin time. How are you doing? How's life in Houston, in the big city? It's hot. Well, it was hot here. It was cool, and now it got hot again. But that's good. So you got a new coach at Houston. That's good. Just a second. So, y'all excited for Willie Fritz? If you were lucky, Willie Fritz would coach the Houston. You're more a Longhorn fan. Houston can beat the Longhorns this year. If you're lucky, he'd coach the pros, Willie Fritz. That guy's a good coach. Gold's 25.22, holding in nicely. It closes early today at 6 o'clock, so we'll see how that goes. Silver 29.47. You're a Longhorn fan. I think they'll beat Michigan. And the line changed. They're now a 3.5-point favorite over Michigan. I'm a little surprised by that. I thought Michigan would be they were like a 7-point favorite. Now it's 3.5. I don't think Michigan's going to be very good this year. The pick of the day, I don't have a pick of the day. No pick of the days. Now you join a class and I go through the games. No more free picks, sorry. You can join the class, $25, and I'll walk through the picks. And in college, 25 for pros. Too many complaints by buyers. If I'm buying, why are you giving away picks? So understood. So this we'll have to see. Who the hell's Tulsa playing? I didn't know Tulsa was playing. Let's see. Who's Tulsa playing? There's Rutgers and Howard, Villanova against YSU, which I don't know what that is. North Carolina State, West Carolina, Bowling Green, Fordham, Buffalo, Lafayette, UCF, New Hampshire, Louisiana, Monroe, somebody, Wake Forest, North Carolina, AT&T, Central against CCS. You sure Tulsa's playing tonight, huh? Toledo, Duquesne, Arkansas, Pine Bluff. There we go. Tulsa. Who's NWS? Northwestern State. Let's see. Northwestern State. Okay, interesting. And what leads you down that path? This girl next door. She's about 7 or 8. She screams about everything. Tulsa. 36.5, 37 to Northwestern State. Well, good luck on that one. Where did you find that game out? Northwestern State is in a major rebuild. So didn't they go through NIL? Do we know who their coach and quarterback are? How strong is their defense? How strong is Tulsa? I didn't think they were that strong last year. Northwestern State has 2 starters returning on offense. Well, they might have won NIL like half these teams do and bring them in. How's their quarterback? Cooper Ligas. Yeah, he's okay. They were pretty decent, Utah State last year. Tulsa has good years where they score a lot, and then they have bad years where they don't score anything. Well, good luck. I think one game I'm not playing. I don't play Division II. Would be Utah with Cam Rising back. They're only 37. Who are they playing? I think Southern Utah. Let's see. Utah's 39 to Southern Utah Division II school, over under 54. That would be one I would play, just because Cam Rising's back and he's so pissed about what happened last year that they're just gonna kill him. I bet they get 50 by halftime. And they got a great defense, Utah. Utah's a top 4 team. See, I'd rather lay 38 with Utah than with Tulsa. Because I know Cam Rising. I don't know Tulsa's quarterback. Well, I probably do if I looked in my notes. Yeah, I mean, it's the same spread. It's who's worse, Northwestern State or Southern Utah University. I mean, that's really the key to it. So I like betting the quarterback. Northwestern State, brand new offensive system, all new O-line. Sounds like Michigan. They played only 6 games last year. The year was canceled due to a plane crash or a player death. Okay. New coach, too. Yeah, I think Utah kills tough tonight, too. I teased Tulsa down to 26.5. Okay. Well, that is what you played a 10-point teaser. Okay. Yeah, I don't have a comment on that, but I mean, if you know that much about Northwestern State, now do you know that much about Tulsa? Are they a good over team? And that'll be, quarterback's all right, but he's at a new team. He's got to learn the receivers. This is my bitch about half these NFL teams in the exhibition, except for Mahomes plays with Kelsey. They get the timing down, but like Detroit, they didn't. Their starters never played. They don't have their timing down. You don't get it in practice because it's not game speed. You got to be in game speed. So it might take Legas a quarter to get in game speed, and then how they're running and it's a new system for Legas, I would imagine. So we will see. Good luck on that one. Starting line was 31. Well, that scares me when the line jumps that much. Because that usually it's usually a fix then, right? I remember the San Jose State Fresno State game back. I was in Vegas 5 years ago, more than that. I think Derek Carr was still their quarterback. And the line jumped from 7 to 11. I went to sleep 7. I woke up, it was 11. So I went to the card, which the line doesn't move on the little teaser card, and I played it -1, going, oh, this spread went from 7 to 11. And next thing I knew, San Jose State beat them by 10. How did they lose to the line went from 7 to 11. So I don't trust the line movements, and I couldn't believe they lost, but it is a rivalry game. But, Michigan's going to have a tough time with Fresno State. Now they're a dog to Texas. They got USC coming up at Oregon. They got Oregon at home. That's a loss. Michigan State could beat them. We know Ohio State's going to beat them. That's your lock of the year, depending on the line, is Ohio State killing Michigan after losing 3 straight. They got to kill them. And, people think Michigan's the same. They don't have Harbaugh. They have a new quarterback who can't even throw the ball. New running back, new offensive line, new defensive coordinator. The Wink Martindale. He's so good. And will he stick with that 6-man line? That's all it was. It was a trick last year. They had 6 guys attack the quarterback every play. And most of these quarterbacks had no idea, and they would just sack them. But now, Fresno State will be ready for it. Texas will be ready for it if he even does it. You can't just change all the players and coaches and nothing bothers you, and you just business as usual. They weren't good last year. They had the easiest schedule in the world. Ohio State sucked, and Penn State was okay, nothing great. And then they got Alabama should have beat them in the playoffs. Milrose fumbles, and then they get lucky against Washington. Their running backs out, so why J.J. McCarthy was drafted, I have no idea. Unbelievable. But there's a bunch of idiots in the NFL, too, as we see. Caleb, number 1. What do you think, Caleb? Caleb will, he'll have 6 touchdowns and 12 picks and 5 fumbles and 30 sacks. he's going to get killed. And everybody's so high on him, and I don't know why. Did you not watch USC last year against Notre Dame, Oregon, Utah, UCLA, Arizona? I can go on and on. Any decent defense, the guy sucked. So I'm not really sure what people are seeing in him. Oh, yeah, 2 years ago. This is a gimmick offense USC runs. Didn't you see it at Oklahoma? Same thing. So I don't buy Caleb. Not at all. But I do buy Bo Nix, and Penix should be starting for Atlanta. What is Cousins? Again, it's like nobody has a memory. What did Kirk Cousins do? Now he's the starter. What did he do at Minnesota? He got lucky a couple years ago, and they won all these games by 3 points or whatever, and then in the playoffs lost to the Giants. Last year he kills his Achilles. I don't think he's done for the Achilles, ready for the Achilles. That takes a year to heal. He got the injury in October. You think he's ready? Aaron Rodgers just got ready. I don't think so. So we will see, but Atlanta will still suck with Kirk Cousins. Sorry. He just lost Jefferson. So he's got inferior receivers because you had Jefferson, and we will see. But that's why we need to look at week one and digest. We already know Rising. We know Ohio State should have a nice blowout. We're worried about Texas, Alabama. We'll see. They should blow out, but they got to get used to DeBoer's system. So you got all this change. It's like you're dating a girl and then you move on and you're dating another girl. Well, it's not the same. It's not the same at all. You got to get used to the new girl. What does she like to do? Can she go to her left, and can she go deep or not? That's the difference. Is you've got to get used to the new players, the chemistry. It's a mind fuck. The whole thing with this NIL is ridiculous. It's ruining college football because here you're rooting for a guy and he switches schools. I'm still, I'm probably I don't have a school, but let's say I was a Michigan State fan. Now I got the Oregon State coach and quarterback in. Like, oh, really? How did that work? Yeah, keep your eye on the line, keep your eye on everything. Anyway, good luck on that. And season starts today. I didn't play either game today, or Tulsa or Utah. So no plays tonight. Tomorrow I do have a play. Saturday I got a boatload. I got, I think, 10. I might have 9 because one of them's with Georgia Tech from last week, a live dog. And that's about it. So if you want, like Alex, normally I gave a free pick. Instead, I'm now doing a class for $25. And, I trust people if you're betting football, you can afford $25 and it'll be well spent with getting my picks. And we can go through the games and I can give the pick. And if not, then, you can either go on my site, teaserking.com, and buy the picks, or do whatever you please. So here's my site, teaserking.com, and then you see my home, you'll get my email, you'll see that, and then just go into purchase picks, and then purchase picks. You can pick the class down here. Why is this so blurry? So you can go on the bottom to purchase picks, pro picks YouTube, or college picks YouTube. So this one could be college. And then, or you can go up here and pick your college picks for $75 for the week, for the month, 4 weeks deal, and for the year deal. Right there. So you could take college for the year, $5.99, or you take college for a month, $300, or for a week, $75, or you get both. And I give a nice discount. So instead of paying $150 for $100, So it's $25 more than getting the picks. And you're going to get, college, you'll probably get 8 to 10 picks a week. Pros, at least 6 picks. I can always find picks. Between the game and the over-under, I can always find picks. That's the beauty of my theories on understanding the team. So if they're an over and under team, well, that gives me an over or under game. If it's an A team against a Z team, that gives me the pick, or I bet against the Z team. So you really understand the team. They're either really good or really bad, or an over team or an under team. Occasionally you get the team that's in the middle where they're not an A team. They're pretty good, like Wisconsin. They're not an A team. They're pretty good defense, more of an under team. But if they have, if Van Dyke does well, then they could be more of a pick or a strong dog. Like Utah, Georgia are the A teams, right? Great quarterbacks, great defense, good coaches. Now if they play each other, you take the dog. But if they play somebody who's not that good, you just take them. And they're going to score a lot, and they're going to shut you down. And that's what you want to know what type of team you're betting on. That's why I asked Alex, who the hell was Northwestern State that you were betting against them? I hope he wins, but how can you make a bet? Again, this is like the whole concept of gambling that I talk about. The broker gives you a game. Do you know the broker? Or the broker gives you, buy this stock or buy a rat. Like Attack on Wall Street guy goes and buys a real estate trust and loses his 60 grand. He listened to the guy. Guy didn't know what he was talking about, but he didn't know anything. So he just went with it. So now I hope you don't bet Northwestern State because Alex said that, because, I know Alex, but I wouldn't just take the bet unless I liked it, right? So that's a good example of Alex giving a game and then you guys running and betting it because Alex gave it. But you don't know Northwestern State, and we don't really know Tulsa. He does because he lives in Houston, so he has a feel for him. But I wouldn't touch that game with a 10-foot pole. So if I'm doing something like that, I'm going to take, like I said, Utah, or I'll bet Ohio State or Alabama. That's who I want to put my money on over Tulsa. No, I didn't say you were suggesting. I'm using this as an example because people will listen to ESPN and the guy will give a pick and we're taking Tennessee, and then everybody will ask me about them, and I go, "Where'd you get the pick from?" Well, ESPN had it. Well, do you know the guy who picks? Would you bet Tennessee if you didn't hear from the guy? That's my point. That's fine that you said that. I understand why you said it, but it's a good example because a lot of people do things based on somebody that they don't really know giving the pick. And that's what I try to teach. Like, we buy gold because we understand the dollar's going and crashing. So we got that. So we have the reason to buy it, and then we go buy it. We don't just buy it because it's pretty, although it does help. It adds demand. But that's where a lot of people lose a lot of money, is listening to people that they don't know. That's the concept. They don't know the guy on ESPN, and he gives a pick. That happened years ago. I give a guy a pick, and so he buys my picks, and it's like it went like 9-1, and he goes, "Oh, I got a lot of money on Clemson," and I'm like, "I didn't give you Clemson. What the fuck are you betting Clemson for? And why do you have a lot of money on Clemson?" And Clemson loses, and he's crying, and I'm like, "Dude, I mean, I'm giving you. I went 9-1, and you're worried about a game that I didn't give you. Like, fuck off. I don't. What are you doing? You're listening to somebody else who doesn't know what they're talking about, and then you lose because you're listening to them." So that was really the point of it, Alex. Not personal to you, but that was definitely the point of it, is to be careful This is a good example. Oh, you're betting Tulsa, and okay, that I'm fine. I understand, but I don't. That's the thing. People got to be careful. Um, you got to be careful doing. Who even you got to be careful who you listen to. You can trust me, but there's other handicappers or other guys on ESPN or Bet MGM, and you got to be careful to listen to them. So here you've figured out your pick, which is good. That's what I'm trying to get to with everybody is I'll do the analyzing, and then you say if this is who I like. Now, do you like who I like? But I do this fairly well, so you can listen to it. But be careful if there's somebody else that's giving you a pick. Do you know them? Are they good? Are they bad? Do you like the game itself? So that's where I'm at. So anyway, you're trying to figure out the teams. That's why we look at week 1 and 2 to figure out. Houston against UNLV is a great game to figure out what's going on. Willie Fritz is the new coach. They got the quarterback sucks, Donovan Smith. Vegas lost their quarterback went to USC. So we've got to see, well, what are these teams this year? And it's a good game to see that. Ohio State, we're not going to learn much against Akron. And then Texas we'll have to see. And then, Penn State, West Virginia will be a very good game, I think. And that's what you're looking at. Florida and Miami of Florida. I think I have those guys zeroed in. I know Miami, their coach sucks. So that's what we got. Anyway, I'll be back with economics. ESPN is the worst. Well, I understand. That's my take on it. I know Legis is he, but now he's got to get used to Tulsa. Tulsa some years has really good offenses, but I don't know what they're like this year. Hold on, I can take a quick look at Legis and Tulsa from last year. Just give me a second. So let's see, Legis. So Tulsa last year was a W team. They scored 23 a game. They gave up 33. So you got a bad defense. I don't know. I got Cardinal Williams as their quarterback, but that's who they had in Gray Sports Almanac. Legis. Yeah, E.J. Warner. Kurt Warner's son on Rice. He was 23-12 last year at Temple. Here it is. Legis, Utah State. Played in 9 games, must have been injured. 19-8 was his what's his touchdowns to interceptions. So Tulsa last year they threw for 205, ran for 180, only got 386 yards of offense. Let's see. So if you go to Utah State, Utah State was a over team. They scored 34 a game and gave up 33. They got Petrus now. I got them as a solid team this year. They had 260 yards passing and 186 rushing. So with Legis, they had 446. So they're a pretty strong offense. Both ways, you got a shit defensive team. So, Phil Steele, I don't like. I've seen his magazines. He's more looking at the schedule than the actual team. So I don't like him anymore. But yeah, just to get the thing. Legis was hurt. Oh, yeah. So not great stats, but the problem is their defense. So you're running into that Northwestern State could keep the ball a long time. They could just say screw it and just run like Nevada did to SMU last week, where the quarterback ran a lot and threw short passes and ate up the clock. That's what would get you in trouble in this game, because your defense sucks. So they can march up and down the field, and I don't know who Northwestern State's quarterback is or anything about him, because I don't look at Division II. It's enough with Division I and 132 teams. But that would be your Achilles is your defense sucks. So you can score. How much are they going to get back, or if they get a kick return or something? So that's going to be your problem. And Legis is okay, but we'll see. I would have taken Utah, I think, with Cam Rising if you want to play a Division I, Division II, because we know Cam Rising and Utah's got a great defense. That's really the difference. Is you got to be careful of your defense, which you don't have. We'll see. I see there's a new coach for Tulsa also, but I think that was last year's new coach. Maybe it's this year's. Let's see. Let's see what Tulsa's about. Tulsa's in the AAC or USA. This magazine puts the AAC after the ACC. Tulsa. They got Tulsa ranked 12th in the conference. Let's see. Temple's the worst. Tulsa, 4-win club a year ago. Tulsa lost 3 of its last 4 games by 7 points or fewer. 4 games with 3 turnovers or more did not help. Head coach Kevin Wilson's second season could have a little more promise if the defense additions pay off and the quarterback development takes effect sooner rather than later. See, here it shows Kirk Francis and Cardell Williams, not Legis, as the quarterback. A 6-year running back. Let's see. Yeah, I don't even see Legis on here. Defense, Tulsa's stats were only slightly better than posted by North Texas, which sucks. They're active in the transfer pool in the offseason. Potter was a 4-year starter at Kansas before spending last season at Arkansas State. Former Indiana and UCLA rusher Miles Jackson. So they brought in third stringers who were on other teams who, face it, a good defensive players not running to Tulsa. National forecast on this magazine, this is the Gray Sports Almanac, has them 111th, 12th in the AAC, and they were only 4-8. Let's see, they lost to Rice 42-10, SMU 69-10, Charlotte 33-26, Tulane. Now they played Tulane pretty good, 24-2, and then North Texas 35-28, snap bad. Oklahoma beat them 66-17. So they beat Northern Illinois, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Temple last year, and then East Carolina. So you're betting on a team that's not too good. And you're laying a lot of points, so good luck. I think you could have went to Ohio State if you really wanted to play the big favorite, lay the favorite. Akron's a Z team, so you're betting a team that you don't know very well against another team you don't know very well. So hopefully you'll be okay, but you've got to be careful with that. You want to know your team. We know Utah. We know Ohio State. Akron sucks. Michigan, Fresno State. We know Fresno State, Mikey Keene, Michigan. That's a whole new team. I mean, they might lose 6 games this year. I don't know who they can really beat. They got USC, Texas, and Fresno State, and then Oregon, Washington, and Ohio State, and Michigan State, who's a rival, who's got the Oregon State coach, and they should be better. So, yeah, it's going to be tough. I'm playing Tulsa on the hunch that Northwestern State will be absolutely horrible. You're betting a team that's going to be 112th ranked in the country with a 34 defense. That's the problem. So, yeah, Northwestern State might suck, and you're betting against them, which makes sense. But I don't know. It's tough when you don't know any of the players. That's why I stay away from Division II. Colorado's got North Dakota State. North Dakota State usually pulls the upset here. In Colorado, we know he has no defense, and Prime Junior and Prime the third are on the team. So I'm not sure. I didn't play that one either, but I like Georgia Tech. Playing against Uglia Buglia was the play in that game, much like what you're doing here. But I had Kings, and I had a good coach in Georgia Tech. So I had a good team with a good quarterback, and I'm getting 16 points. It was beautiful. Looking for that again this week. But that's what you're looking at, the weakness. So it's not a bad bet if that Delaware State is this bad as you say it is. Again, where do you find the research on it? It's not in mine. I don't think I have a Division II part in this. No, it just goes Division I. And keep in mind, Troy has the worst coach in the Notre Dame offensive coordinator. Yeah, there's no Division II in here. But anyway, so don't bet a lot on it, hopefully, and have some fun. And your Houston team, I like a lot this year, the college team, not the pro. I don't know why they're favored at Indy. They couldn't win at Carolina last year. They ain't going to win at Indy. Anyway, be careful with that. But I get your point, and that's a good point. So we'll see. Anyway, off to the pool. Economics, well, it's already 1:15. Probably about 3:34. I'll come back with economics. I will leave you with gold. We'll talk more NFL maybe on Sunday. There's no point. It's 2 weeks away. Gold 25.27. Here we go. And we're hunting 25.50 today. Notice how the U.S. did not do a derivative at 10 o'clock. And I don't think they can do it at 8 o'clock because I don't think they open at that point. So this had to be London doing the derivative at 8 o'clock, forcing it down. So all these people that are trying to get out of the derivatives down in the 2400s, there's no way that's happening. There's too much demand from China and Russia and India and Saudi Arabia now, and everybody else who's attempting to join BRICS. Get out of the dollar soon. So, Alex, if you do make this money, I expect you to buy gold and silver with it instead of keeping it in a bank where you'll never get it out in a dollar that will have no value very soon. This is the point we were talking about in economics class. Well, maybe. Well, they got an easy schedule. They got Jacksonville, Indy, and Tennessee. They're in the weakest division. So that's 6 wins right there. Well, maybe if they can win on the road. But anyway, so the question came up if somebody's working now, what do? They take their money and they pay their bills, and the savings goes into the bank, and they try to save it up. And what they don't realize is the money in the bank's worthless because the money's in USD has no value. And they save their whole life and they get it to $50,000 and they think they have a lot of money, and then they don't realize it's worthless. See, when you're in gold, there is no such thing as inflation. You can't inflate it because you can't print it, and you ignore all the U.S. inflation. And that's what nobody understands is your dollar. This is what I always like to show. Where's my dollar? Is that this really is not worth anything. This is worth like 1 cent. So this is the problem. You're holding this has really got no value. It's going to go to zero. And this is the problem that you don't know. You got $1,000. You think you got $1,000. Well, go try to buy something with it. Oh, yeah, I can't. And that's the problem. So that's what everybody misses, that even if I have a lot of these, they're not worth anything. So moving into gold and silver as soon as you can is the only answer you can do. Otherwise, you're just totally screwing yourself because you win, you make money, but what you're making isn't money. It's just toilet paper. That's your problem. So you really got to get out of toilet paper into real money, which is gold and silver. But people don't understand that. And it's going to be a shame when they lose all their money and you're trying to help them and they don't listen. There's not a whole lot you can do. And that's why I do my economics class, but I can only help you if you're willing to listen and understand. And I try to use logic and that, just like football. So we understand football, what to bet on. And we're betting our worthless dollars, and hopefully we win and we can turn it into gold. So we will see. Anyway, so tonight starts it off. Tomorrow I do have plays, and then Saturday I have a lot of plays. I did play the LSU USC game, and nothing on Florida State BC. Should be a terrible game. And then we get the pros next Thursday, Kansas City and Baltimore in Kansas City. I will play that game, and I got about 7 or 8 plays in the pros that I have. Like I said, with the overs and unders and the teams, I can always find 7, 8 plays. So that's not a problem. Anyway, have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com to discuss, like Alex did, normal games. You'll have to buy the class, and that's fine. He can discuss like a Division II game because that obviously is not one of my picks. I don't pick Division II, so I'm not giving away one of my picks. But yeah, if you want, we can talk on that. Again, $25 college, $25 pros, and we'll go from there. All right. It's just like this. The class is the same. He'll answer. He'll ask that. If he would have said, "Who do you like in KC Baltimore?" I wouldn't have been able to give it to him there. But in class, we would discuss it, and I'd give my pick. All right. So have a good day. I'll be back at about 3:30, and gold's we might see 25.50 by 6 o'clock on its way to 3,000, on its way to 7,000 to 10,000. All right. Have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com.